There are moments in racing when everything feels uncertain, when the machine that once carried you to glory suddenly feels unfamiliar, unpredictable, almost alien. For Francesco Bagnaia, that moment came at the start of the 2026 MotoGP preseason. The world was watching, and the reigning Ducati hero was searching for something he couldn't quite describe: confidence, that invisible rhythm between man and machine. And then, he felt it. After months of doubt, countless laps of frustration, and whispers that maybe his best years were behind him, Bagnaia finally found something inside Ducati's 2026 prototype that changed everything. It wasn't a single corner or a single lap. It was a feeling, that rare electric connection when bike and rider move as one. Under the scorching Valencia sun, Bagnaia rolled out of the pit lane, the new Desmedizia humming beneath him like a beast reborn. Ducati's engineers had been chasing perfection, tweaking everything from aerodynamics to traction delivery. And though early tests had been rocky, something clicked that day. The chatter in the corners disappeared. The front end felt light, precise, alive. Bagnaia leaned in deeper, pushed harder, and when he crossed the line, the numbers spoke, but the smile on his face said more than any stopwatch ever could. For the first time in a long time, he felt like himself again. The man who once dominated the grid, back-to-back champion, relentless competitor, had rediscovered his rhythm. And in the world of MotoGP, confidence isn't just a feeling, it's everything. It's the invisible fuel that separates the brave from the great, the fearless from the legendary. He told reporters later, "I felt something different today, something that gives me a lot of confidence." But beneath that calm statement was a deeper truth. Bagnaia had found hope again, the kind that every racer needs after a season of struggle. Because the 2025 season had not been kind to him. While the spotlight followed Marc Marquez's heroic comeback and Jorge Martin's relentless charge, Bagnaia was left to wrestle with a Ducati that refused to cooperate. He'd gone from podiums to pit lane confusion, from title fights to self-doubt. Critics began to whisper, maybe the golden era was fading. Maybe Bagnaia's time was passing. But true champions don't fade quietly. They evolve. And as Bagnaia tested the new GP26, something inside him shifted. He began to trust again. The front tire, the braking zones, the balance. Every lap brought a flicker of familiarity. Every corner brought back memories of dominance. He wasn't chasing speed. He was rediscovering control. Inside the Ducati garage, engineers watched the telemetry, exchanging silent nods. They knew that when Bagnaia smiled after a run, it meant the machine was speaking his language again. The synergy was back, and that meant trouble for everyone else. What he felt wasn't just mechanical improvement, it was emotional redemption. In MotoGP, every rider talks about the feeling. It's that instinctive dialogue between heart and horsepower, where milliseconds are decided not by technology, but by trust. Bagnaia had lost that connection in 2025. The front end felt vague, the acceleration unpredictable, the confidence fading corner by corner. But on this new machine, everything aligned again. The front end was talking, the rear was stable, and the grip, that precious grip, was back in his hands. The whispers in the paddock began to change. The same journalists who questioned his decline now murmured about resurgence. The same rivals who once passed him with ease started watching his lap times again. Something had awakened in the champion. Bagnaia's voice after the test was calm, almost understated. He said, "I can feel the difference. The bike is more natural now. I can push again." Those few words carried weight. For Ducati, it was a signal that their adjustments, the reworked chassis, the smooth throttle mapping, and the refined aerodynamics had finally delivered. But for Bagnaia, it was personal. He'd been through the storm. Now he was ready to fly again. Because when a champion finds confidence, it's not just performance that returns, it's purpose. He walked out of the paddock that day with a quiet determination. No chest beating, no bold predictions, just the quiet, focused aura of a man who knows the fire inside him has reignited. The Italian press captured the headlines the next morning. Bagnaia reborn. But to those who truly understood him, this wasn't a rebirth. It was a return. The same warrior who led Ducati to glory in 2022 and 2023 had never disappeared. He'd just been searching for the feeling that made him unstoppable. Behind the scenes, Ducati's test team worked tirelessly through the night. Every feedback from Bagnaia was logged, analyzed, refined. And the message was clear. This version of the GP26 had potential like unlike anything before it. Bagnaia's input had shaped it. His sensitivity, his discipline, his obsession with precision, all of it was built into the new machine. When he spoke to his team the next morning, he said something that gave everyone goosebumps. We don't need to reinvent the bike. We just need to remember who we are. That line became the team's mantra heading into the 2026 season. In the following weeks, Bagnaia continued to test, and every session seemed to erase another trace of the frustration that had haunted him. He began cutting cleaner lines through turns, experimenting with deeper braking, pushing acceleration harder out of corners. And each time, the bike responded with loyalty. It was as if Ducati had built a machine perfectly tuned to his heartbeat. But what truly set this moment apart was the way Bagnaia carried himself afterwards. Gone was the tension in his shoulders, the uncertainty in his tone. In its place was quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't need to shout, the kind that tells everyone around you, I'm ready. And that readiness echoed through the paddock. Rivals noticed. Jorge Martin's team reportedly reviewed Bagnaia's telemetry data during private testing. Marc Marquez, ever the competitor, mentioned in an interview, you can see it in his eyes. He's back. Bagnaia wasn't just faster, he was freer. He talked about feeling in harmony with the bike, a phrase that carries deep meaning in MotoGP. Harmony isn't speed, it's trust. It's when the machine becomes an extension of the rider, when every input feels like instinct, when every movement becomes art. As the winter tests concluded, Ducati's engineers confirmed what everyone suspected. Bagnaia's pace was back among the best. The gap that had haunted him for months was gone, and with it the doubts that shadowed his confidence. The world of MotoGP has seen many comebacks, but this one felt different. This wasn't about physical recovery or new technology. It was about rediscovering belief. Bagnaia had once said, when you lose confidence, even the fastest bike feels slow. But now with that feeling returned, even time itself seemed to bend in his favor. Corners looked wider, exits came faster, and suddenly the Desmodicia was dancing again, not fighting. The symphony between man and machine was back. When he left the final test session, the sun dipping below the circuit, cameras caught him pausing near the bike. He placed a hand on the fairing, just for a second, as if acknowledging the bond between them, the kind of silent respect only a racer and his machine can share. He smiled, climbed into the team van, and disappeared into the night. But for those who witnessed it, the message was clear. Francesco Bagnaia wasn't just ready for 2026. He was reborn within it. Because sometimes the greatest victories aren't won on race day. They're found in the quiet moments when everything finally makes sense again, when confidence returns and a champion rediscovered what he was born to do. Bagnaia didn't need to announce it. He didn't need to prove it yet. The way he rode said it all. The comeback was complete. And now, the rest of MotoGP would have to catch up.